It was on a Saturday morning, and my parents were getting ready to leave for their vacation to go see my grandma, who was in Canada. I decided to stay home because I just turned 18 years old, and I wanted to prove to myself and my family that I am an independent woman and I am capable of staying home by myself. As my parents began to say their goodbyes, I told my parents to be safe and tell grandma, I said, hey. After I watched my parents pull out the driveway, I started to text the group chat I am in, which was called the Bougie Girls. I told my friends that we are going to have a house party and to invite all the cute guys at school, and that I would start to get the house situated for the house party. After I sent the text to the group chat, I began to start cleaning up the house, putting chips on the table for the guests to enjoy. I started to put drinks out and text my school crush, Michael, to get us some drinks from the liquor store. Michael replied and said, I got y'all. As I got done getting the house cleaned up and ready for the party, I ordered some pizza on my mom's credit card that she lets me use when I need to. After a few hours, people started to show up to the party, and Michael showed up with the liquor drinks for everyone to enjoy. I played some music and started to have a good time. I went up to my school crush, Michael, and started to dance with him. After talking to him for a couple of minutes, shortly after this, I asked my friends if they wanted to play a game to spice this party up even more. It was called Find the X, which as I began to explain to everyone the rules of the game, which was there will be one killer, and after he tags you, you have to lay down as if you were dead. And after a killer gets everyone, we would spin the beer bottle to find out who the killer would be for the next round. As everyone began to agree to this game, I started to turn out the lights. I told everyone good luck, and nobody knows who the killer is, so I would split up. We all started to play the killer game, and my friends Kayla and Abby started to follow me. I said this game will be fun. Just go hide so the killer doesn't find you. I began to walk around the house as I saw people laying down on the ground, acting like they were dead. And I saw another body right beside the body that was already laying down. I began a little paranoid, so I went up to the body just to make sure they weren't faking being dead. As I approached the body, I saw blood all over her neck, which if someone had sliced the person's neck open. I began to run with fear for my life and did not trust anybody because I did not know who the killer was at this point. As I ran through the house, which was pitch black, I tried to turn on the lights, but the lights were not working. So I began to panic and tried to call 911, but there was no service either. As I started to shake like an earthquake from the anxiety and fear I had, I went in the kitchen to grab a knife and went and hid in a closet to stay safe from whoever the killer was. As I began to hear footsteps approach the closet door I was in, I heard a loud scream, which sounded like Kayla. As if she was in trouble, I could not leave yet because someone was outside the closet door I was hiding in with my kitchen knife. I heard a fast footstep go across the hallway I was in and heard, shh, I'm not the killer, haha, and heard stabs go through the person's body. I looked down at my feet and saw a big bubble of blood coming through the closet door frame. I screamed for help and I began to cry. I pushed open the closet door, hoping to get away from the killer. And as I rushed and pushed the closet door I was in, I hit something, but I did not look back. I ran fast as I could to get away from the killer. As I approached the front door, I started to run to the end of my driveway to see the killer who had on a clown costume you would get from the nearest Halloween store. I lived in the middle of nowhere, so there was no neighbors by, so I tried to run past the killer to get to my car. As I approached my car, the killer grabbed me by my arm and threw me into the ground and started to walk over towards me while holding a knife in his hand. I started to panic, pledging the killer not to please, don't kill me. As I began to beg for my life, a car approached the driveway. My mind started to think, this has to be a mistake, but it wasn't. It was a guy who was late for the party. As I began to scream for help, the killer sliced my leg. I started to crawl towards the guy to tell him, help me. As the killer kept slicing at my body, as I began to start bleeding even more, I began to start losing consciousness from all the wounds I had from the killer stabbing me with a knife. The guy who pulled up saw me and asked if I was okay. I said, "No, call the cops." As the guy began to call the cops, the man ran back to his car to grab something. Though I thought he was leaving, but the man grabbed a gun and shot the killer right there, and then said, "The cops will be here shortly." As I waited for the cops to arrive, they did. They took me to the hospital, and I survived after getting 10 stitches to my body. And I looked over to see my parents crying, saying that they are sorry and that it was going to be okay. Turns out the killer was Becky's ex-drunk boyfriend, who she left the same night the killing happened.